Here's what I want to show you, and it's so, so important. Weakness is not a hindrance to power. Weakness is the catalyst to spiritual power. The problem is wrong response. So first of all, you need to recognize something. Everybody's weak. Everything that is demanded of you in the New Testament is absolutely impossible for the natural man. There you go. So now everybody's on the same level. Me, you, Spurgeon, John Piper, all of us, everyone's weak. That's it. Now you can't use weakness as an excuse anymore because everybody's just as weak. No one can do this stuff. No one. The question is, what do we do? Many people just mouth weakness because it's the Christian thing to say. I'm weak. Other people find it very convenient to use that phraseology. Why? Because they can use it as an excuse for their sin. Well, I'm weak. Everybody's weak. But the right mindset here is in recognizing your weakness, it drives you to God. Immediately to God. Believing in faith that He's the fountain He claims to be. That He's the source and the helper that He claims to be. That He is one of unlimited resources. That He does not greedily hand out to children, but He lavishes upon us. So see, your problem is that you're really not recognizing you're weak. Or you recognize you're weak, but you just stay there in your weakness. The thing is, your weakness ought to drive you to God every time. But here's the problem. We sin, a sin that we've already sinned and already repented of, and because of it we think we need to put ourselves in a penalty box for a little while, at least a couple of days, and try to work our way back into favor before we come to God. Because if we think, actually, you mean if I go back every time I do this, just immediately, not only going back and asking for forgiveness, but expecting forgiveness, isn't that hypocrisy? Isn't that a low view of God? Isn't that treating God as a forgiveness machine? No, it's being biblical. It's what poverty of spirit is supposed to do to us. Now again, I'm not preaching this, hopefully, to unconverted church people who are going to say, wow, if God's that good, I'll sin all the time and just go back and ask for forgiveness. Hopefully I'm not talking to people like that. Hopefully I'm talking to genuine Christians who really want to be something they are not yet. But when they find themselves frail and they find themselves weak and they find themselves sinning the same sin, they kind of huddle over here and wait. Maybe read their Bible a few days, pray some more, show God they're really sincere before they run over there and actually try to get some forgiveness. No! One of the great joys of my life is when I discovered that the moment I sin the sin I always sin, my first response ought to be to latch a hold of Christ. And not beggarly, not thinking, oh, here I am, you ought to strike me down. But no, I latch a hold of Christ saying, I believe your promises. I am in a different realm. I am free. I am a saint. I've been moved out of Adam and condemnation and law. All of it was paid for on that tree. When He died, He knew all of it. He forgave all of it. I'm free. It's absolutely spectacular.